Good morning on this last day of March 2021. Let it be known, we're going to talk about some reggae music. A great Jamaican singer is with us this morning, or I should say a singer from Jamaica. But first, of course, let's bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the one and only Dr. Ben Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey, and good morning to all of our viewers across the nation, in the Caribbean, and throughout the world. On behalf of the Black Press of America, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, and all the members of our board of directors, we welcome everybody. This is another day. It's good to be a person of African descent in America and throughout the world as we move through this pandemic, as we witness the trial of the police officer who murdered our brother in Minneapolis, Brother Floyd. But also, we must look up that we're trying to move through this pandemic. And I think that there's reasons to pause a little bit because in some states, the increase in infections are on the increase with the variants. So I want everybody to stay vigilant, keep those masks on, keep social distancing, keep washing your hands. And if you have an opportunity to get the vaccination, you should consult your local physician and make sure that you protect yourself and your family.
Words of wisdom. So, Dr. Chavis, more damaging and heartbreaking testimony in day 2 of the trial of Derek Chauvin, the officer who is responsible for the death of George Floyd. MMA fighter Donald Williams II continued his testimony from day 1, and he said he called 911 after George Floyd was put into an ambulance because, quote, "I believe I witnessed a murder." He said, "I felt the need to call the police on the police." Asked why he didn't speak to the officers already on the scene, Williams said he felt they were involved in the incident. He called 911 on that day, and that tape of him calling 911 was played for the jury. And on tape, he can be heard telling the 911 operator that, and quote, "Officer is trying to kill this citizen. He had his knee on the dude's neck the whole time." He told the 911 operator that George Floyd stopped breathing. He wasn't resistant. He wasn't doing anything. He was in handcuffs. He says, "I don't know if he is dead for sure, but he was non-responsive when the ambulance came and got him." That's all on the 911 tape as it happened. The jury also heard from a 9-year-old witness who said she saw an officer put a knee on George Floyd's neck and that the officer kept his knee on him after ambulance personnel asked him nicely to get off of George Floyd. The witness said they had to get the officer off of Floyd. She said, "I was kind of sad. I was kind of mad." So, and a third day of testimony is scheduled this morning as prosecutors continue to press their case for a conviction on murder charges against the former officer. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is leading the prosecution. Dr. Chavis, some real damaging testimony for that officer, heartbreaking testimony for the George Floyd family.
Absolutely. And the reason why the testimony is so powerful because it's stating the actual facts. There are multiple witnesses. Usually in a case like this, you don't have witnesses that will come forward. We have multiple witnesses. We have the videotape. We have the audio tape. We have the 911 calls. It all shows that George Floyd was murdered by Chauvin, and the other officers are also guilty of complicity because they did nothing to stop Chauvin from murdering George Floyd. So this case is going to go on. Like I say, George Floyd is not on trial. Black America is not on trial. America's on trial today.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously our 2 newspapers there in Minneapolis, the Spokesman Recorder and Insight News, will continue to be in the courtroom each and every day. The trial is expected to last about a month. And Dr. Chavis, President Biden has continued to be very busy since taking office. Yesterday, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a Black woman, counted among the 11 judicial candidates President Biden announced that he plans to nominate for vacant federal court seats. Judge Jackson, who has served on the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia since 2013, is the president's nomination for the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit. President Biden's nominees include 3 African-American women for appeals court vacancies, and if confirmed by the Senate, One of the nominees would become the first Muslim to serve as a federal judge, and another nominee would be the first Asian American woman to serve on the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia. So President Biden busy with the judicial nominations. You remember, Dr. Chavis, he pledged to nominate a black woman for the Supreme Court.
Oh, absolutely. But so far, President Biden and Vice President Harris, they're keeping their promises made to Black America. And that's why voting has consequences. Elections have consequences. And we have to continue now to resist the attempts to suppress the Black vote, not only in Georgia, but across the United States. In these state legislatures, they're reacting negatively. You know, Jim Crow has a 2021 manifestation with all these voter suppression laws. We're going to continue to report it in the Black press. We're going to continue to keep our people awake and involved and engaged. This is no time for us to sit down and be quiet and not be vocal. We have to always be outspoken. That's the whole purpose of the Black press, to make sure that we're not only informed, but we've also become very effective advocates for freedom, justice, and equality.
Yeah, and in addition to that, we said the president has been very busy. Last night, the White House gave the Black press, the NNPA, a heads up on what's happening today. The president will unveil his America's Jobs Plan in an email to the Black press that spelled out the challenges that the president is tackling include climate crisis and the ambitions of an autocratic China. It also, the plan has a $2 trillion price tag. It includes direct spending with an additional $400 billion in clean energy tax credits. It also includes $650 billion for physical infrastructure, $300 billion for housing infrastructure, $300 billion for manufacturing, $300 billion for the electric grid, and $400 billion for home caretakers and care for the elderly and disabled. President Biden said that this plan really helps to curb the poverty rate. It helps to curb racism, and it helps to put Americans, particularly Americans of color, back in high-paying jobs.
Yeah, it's a comprehensive plan. You know, just like the American Rescue Plan, we now have the American Jobs Plan. I think these are bold moves. These are multi-trillion-dollar moves, but it moves in the direction of enabling, empowering, and encouraging people to reach their God-given gifts and talents with federal assistance. This is the role of the federal government. So we're going to be monitoring and keeping up our news broadcasts as now the Congress will start debating the American Jobs Plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And a footnote to that, Dr. Tavis, I'm sure you are thrilled about it. It talks about it actually tackles climate and the environment, particularly in underserved neighborhoods.
Absolutely. Environmental racism is a reality, and we're thankful that the new administration is an advocate for environmental justice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Chavis, officials in Detroit have unveiled the 102nd United States Colored Troop Memorial Highway, honoring the heroic African-American infantry regiment formed during the Civil War in 1863. The dedication of a portion of I-375 took place at the same spot where the regiment first organized. According to the Detroit Historical Society, the 1,400-person troop, which included 845 escaped slaves, were initially called the Corps d'Afrique by the Detroit Free Press. After forming, they became the 102nd United States Colored Infantry. So they're honoring those African-American men who fought in the Civil War way back in 1863 with a major highway, I-375, dedicated to them, Dr. Chavis.
Well, that's great. Again, we thank the officials of Detroit for making that decision, and the state of Michigan. Detroit continues to be a place not only where Black history has been made, but continues to be made. And I think that the role that African Americans played in the Civil War is grossly understated. So this will help people become more aware that African American helped to save the Union by fighting against the South, the white supremacist South that had succeeded from the Union.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Chambers, during Women's History Month, we've had an innovative, amazing woman on every single day. Well, today, her goal is to dominate the Caribbean, American, and the world's music industry. She is Terri-Lee Taylor, a singer from Jamaica and songwriter of modern dancehall, R&B, and soul. Let's welcome this morning Terri-Lee Taylor. Good morning, Terri.
Good morning. Thank
Good
you for
morning,
having
Terri.
me. Good
We're
morning.
honored to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know a little something about dancehall.
Mhm.
You know, I shout out to all my yardies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
well, there
You
you
got
go.
it.
So, Terri, you come on this morning with some basically our show. We like to break news. You come on with breaking news. You got a brand new single out. Tell us about it. It's called Waiting, we're told.
Yes, it's called Waiting. So I released it last week, Friday, the 26th. It was my first time recording a song. So it's my first ever single, and it's doing well right now. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Waiting. How did it come together? What was the thought behind it?
Not really a thought, but it as soon as I heard the rhythm, the beat, a melody came to me, and then the word just came to me. So it wasn't like a story behind it. It was just like, putting words together and making a song. But it didn't have like a type of meaning. But hopefully it will have some meaning to all the ladies listening out there, or the male figures.
Well, we hope so as well. You come from a place, Jamaica, that has turned out some of the world's greatest. We're talking Bob Marley, of course,
Definitely.
Ziggy Marley, Sean
Hmm.
Paul. We can go on and on. Who inspired you? Are any of these your idols?
Definitely Bob. He started it. He paved the way for all of us. So definitely he's the one that I listen to Bob almost every day. And then you have different dancehall artists other than Sean Paul. I know you guys mostly know Sean Paul because he's more on the international scene. But yeah, Popcorn, Shensia, Jada Kingdom. So there's quite a few that I listen to their music widely.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us a little bit about you, Terri-Lee. Family wise, siblings. Tell us about your growing up.
Well, growing up, I lived with my mom. Well, I grew up with three beautiful, strong Black women. My mom, my aunt, and my grandma. My mom and aunt were like two teachers. And my dad mostly lived in New York, so he was away, but always a part of my life. And I'm the only child from my mom, but my dad have a few more.
Okay. Wow. So anybody in the industry today, Terri, that and we mentioned already, we mentioned Bob Marley, of course,
Hmm.
and others, but is there someone today that you'd like to work with?
Um, Many actually. There are some I would love to work with. Coffee, Protege, Chronics. There's another one called Lila Ike. Just more roots. Yeah, so definitely. And there are more reggae singers too.
Okay. And Terri, how did you get into the music business?
From ever since I've been singing, it's always been my dream. So this year was the year to finally step out of my comfort zone, and use the opportunities that surrounds me.
Okay. Well, Dr. Chambers, I'm gonna let you jump in.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Mhm.
Terry, there's a whole generation of young people, male and
Yeah.
female, who are trying to get into the entertainment industry, particularly from the Caribbean.
Hmm.
So tell us about some of the opportunities for reggae, for dancehall, and for music overall from the Caribbean, as certainly reggae has been felt all over the world.
Definitely. Well, Wait, what was your question again?
Just what do you see as the opportunities for others to get into the industry?
Oh, well, it's well, you can't have more or less reggae. So we need more young people out on the scene now. We need more of those regular names being called. You stated about Sean Paul, but Marley. We need more names to be called worldwide. You know. So I think as opportunity flows, I feel like more young people should hit the scene, and people should be more welcoming to young people and not accept the others who are usually on the scene.
Exactly. What name is the company and who distributes your music? Who's your new single that's out?
Anthony Tillman makes Smart Cool. That's my distributor.
They're based in Jamaica or in the United States?
In the United States, I do all my recording out here in Washington, D.C.
Very good. Very good.
Mhm.
There's a big Jamaican community in DC.
Yes, definitely.
And so and talk about too, let's go back to waiting. So you talked about the melody. Where did the words actually come from? As you and I listened to the song the other day. Where did the words come from?
All the words came from me. I wrote it. Um, but it's like a slang. Like it's, are you up on me? Like, are you feeling me? Because I've been waiting. You have been giving me mixed signals, so I'm ready for you to confirm. Like I'm looking for a confirmation to see where we can go through with that.
Yeah.
Relationship wise, yes.
And tell us, it's not a matter of most artists that they just don't walk into the studio and just put
Mhm.
something down. It's a matter of a process, right? What was the process like getting to this point where you finally got that first single released?
Well, pretty much we started recording R&B soul, and I was always like, I've never done like a dancehall song. So I thought the R&B soul would have been easier for me. And it took forever to record that song. But I remember walking into the studio one day with just the lyrics and the rhythm, and boom, we recorded the song. Like, I guess it's still in my blood, it's in my roots. So it went pretty well with that.
So we have the single. Is there a album in the works? A CD?
Oh, well, an EP is in the works. We're adding on four more songs to Waiting and call it, we adding it on to make an EP. Mostly, I think it's gonna come out in May. Yeah, so look out for that.
So we're talking about waiting. The song is called
hmm
Waiting. You know what we're waiting for? We're waiting for you maybe to give us a line or two from the song. Can you sing a verse or two?
Um, wow, this is on the spot. Okay, sure. Um, are you up on me? Cause I'm up on you. Yeah, you know what's good. Trying to see if you follow through. Are you up on me? Cause I'm up on you. Yeah, you know what's good. Trying to see if you follow through. What you want from me, I can give it to you. Yeah, you know what's good. Waiting, waiting, waiting. How long? Me, I wait. Take your time, you're not too late. You know you have it in you. Your love move on from you. How long? Me, I wait. Take your time, you're not too late. You know me have it in you. Your love move on from you.
Oh,
Well,
great. That
we
sounds great.
very, very, very nice. And so we're going to be looking for that EP, Terry. And I know it's a lot of hard work. Now, young ones want to follow your footsteps, follow like you're following others' footsteps. But what advice would you give other young Black girls, particularly those who are coming from the Caribbean to the United
hmm
States?
I mean, the whole part of being in your comfort zone is just not a good thing for me. I always feel like once you're stepping out of your comfort zone, there is a way for you. And sometimes it may feel like you don't know what you're doing, but as soon as you have this gut feeling that, okay, this is my time, I'm sure it will work out. So I feel like any opportunity that you have, you grasp it and you just handle it with care, you know.
Now, and I've heard you say that a couple of times. This is your time. What made it your time?
um it's just it's just a lot of thinking, a lot of self acclamation, like, okay, you know you were born for this, you know you have the talent for this, so why not break out right now? You have the maturity, you have the wisdom, and now you have the the experience and now the opportunity.
Yeah. So, and what do you think about live performance? Have you got a chance to do that yet in front of an audience?
No, no, not during the pandemic, definitely no.
Yes.
Yeah.
So are you looking forward to that?
Definitely, yeah. I can't wait to touch the show with the stage with all the lights hitting me.
Michelle Madison, one of our viewers, is asking, are there many women from the Caribbean following in your footsteps? How is it received? How is, you mentioned waiting earlier, how you're it's being received pretty well here in the States. Do you know how it's being received back home?
Well, most of my social media platform, it's I'm saying, because I moved to the States in January, so I'm literally fresh off the boat. I've born and raised there, so most of my supporters are still on the island. You know, I'm trying to gain more international supporters.
Yeah. Dr. Chavis, I'm going to throw it to you for your closing
Yeah,
thoughts.
yeah, Terry. Thank you, and congratulations. It's
Thank
very
you.
bold of you. Just arrived in the United States, now you breaking a new hit single. But I want to ask you, as a young Jamaican woman, a young black
Mhm.
woman, we have a vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, who also has roots from Jamaica. Tell us how the Caribbean world, as well as the young brothers and sisters you have on your social media, how do they feel about Vice President Kamala Harris with her
Oh,
Jamaican roots?
we could feel more happier. Like we were excited. Um, we were like, okay, finally a Jamaican gets in the house. We can't wait for the presidency, so we're waiting for a Jamaican president. We're like that. We wherever in the world, you're always gonna find a Jamaican like into the space. That's what we're proud of. You know, anywhere you go in this world, you're always gonna find a Jamaican.
That sounds like a lot of pride there, Terry Taylor.
Definitely, you have to. Yes, I'm proud of where I'm from, and I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't give it up for anything in this world. Yeah.
And last thing, Terri-Lee Taylor,
Hmm.
the single. How do people buy the single? How do they support you?
Well, I'm out on all platforms, and you can buy me on Amazon Music or iTunes. But definitely download and stream it. As I say, I'm out on all platforms. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know, I just got started, so yeah, that's the full support I need right now.
What's your YouTube channel? What's the address there?
Terri-Lee Taylor.
Terri-Lee Taylor, YouTube. Okay, great. Any Twitter, Facebook, or anything like that?
Twitter is Terri-Lee Taylor. Facebook is Terri-Lee Taylor too, and Instagram is underscore Terri-Lee Taylor. Yes, everything.
All right, and we can buy the music at Amazon and other streaming platforms.
Yes, iTunes.
Very nice. Well, Terri-Lee Taylor, we wish you nothing but success going forward. It sounds like we'll be hearing a lot more from you. Thanks for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. Our Women's History Month shout out goes to Tina Turner. HBO's Tina opens with a thunderous greeting from Tina Turner, a clip from 30 years ago of the then 50-year-old singer in all of her silver sequined long leg glory, demanding that a stadium full of people ask her how she feels. She then, of course, blows them away with her song, Ask Me How I Feel. You might think you know, After all these years, she's given us her autobiography, I, Tina, the major motion picture, What's Love Got to Do with It, starring Angela Bassett, and more recently, the Broadway musical Tina, the Tina Turner musical, all dedicated to explaining to us the hardships and trauma and abuse the now 81-year-old singer has endured throughout her life. Tina, however, offers something a bit different. Tina meant as the last time the legend will tell her story. It's her thank you and goodbye to her fans as she continues to battle various illnesses. Tina on HBO is told in 5 parts: Ike and Tina, family, comeback, the story, and love. We hear about her life from Turner directly. Filmed sitting in her Swiss estate in 2019, filmmakers Dan Lindsay and TJ Martin documented the singer's early years, her thoughts on motherhood, and her will to make it. Tina Turner, Women's History Month shout out. We certainly shout you out, Tina Turner. Let it be known, to quote Tina Turner, at every moment, we always have a choice, even if it feels as if we don't. Sometimes that choice may simply be to think a more positive thought. We're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day.